So you want to be a movie star, and you want to be a governor, and maybe you want to be a rock star too. You better be careful. The latest is that the son fathered by Arnold Schwarzenegger with his housekeeper was born less than a week after Maria Shriver gave birth to another Schwarzenegger son, according to birth records obtained by CNN. The former California governor acknowledged he was the father of a child over a decade ago. Didn't identify the mother. Turns out that it was a woman who was a domestic worker, 50-year-old native of Guatemala. Linda Solomon, the celebrity photographer, nationally recognized photojournalist in the Michigan Journalism Hall of Fame, with lots of other awards, too, from Birmingham, Michigan, on the other end of our line right now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So supposedly this child of Arnold Schwarzenegger's that he had with the maid in the house there looks a lot like him, though we haven't seen a picture yet, and the race is on, is it not, among the photojournalists to try to get one?
Well, that's what I've heard, and we would call it a hunter, and the prey certainly is the photo of the child, and the paparazzi are out to obtain that photo, and it's very dangerous for the mother and the child because I'm sure they're stalking the home and the school of this child to try to get the first photo to be published in the tabloids, and it has been reported on some of the shows that a price, it could be about $500,000, would be paid to the photographer that is able to get that type of photograph. And I think it's awful, and I think the tabloids that pay those prices, I mean, it's deplorable. It's, as I mentioned, it is dangerous, and you know, what can I say? I mean, the LA Times has elected not to even publish a photo of the staffer that worked for the Schwarzeneggers, and of course they would not publish a photo of the child, and so it's an interesting debate. How do you feel about it?
Well, I'm just curious to get your take because, after all, I mean, you are a photojournalist. Have you ever been paid a huge sum of money for a picture that you were able to snatch?
And it's interesting. I was offered many years ago when I worked for the news. I was offered a lot of money, not anything like what I just mentioned, but it was actually $10,000 for a photo of Lee Iacocca and, at that time, his wife, who he was divorcing after a short period. And this was when I worked for the news back in the 80s, and the Inquirer called the news and asked to speak to me, and they started at $2,500, then they finally ended at $10,000, and I still said no. And I've never sold a photo to the tabloids, nor would I. And but again, this was many years ago. But that was an astronomical price, for one photo, and I certainly was not even tempted.
Wow. So you're a photojournalist. You're not a paparazzi type. You're by appointment.
You know what's interesting about Maria and Arnold? I know Maria. She was in our book, People We Know, Horses They Love, and I spent time with her, and she was with her son, the youngest son, the 13-year-old son, her son, their son. And Maria is wonderful. She is just a lovely person. And I have met Arnold. But what's interesting with Arnold? I once observed Arnold in Santa Fe. He was walking in the one of the largest Native American art fairs, and he was by himself with a cigar, and a Native American child came up to him, and I happened to be standing nearby, and the child asked him for an autograph. And he looked at this little boy who was about 7 or 8, and he said, "No, I'm sorry, it's family time." Now, he was not with his family. He was alone. And the child walked away crying, and I thought this was just awful, that he just couldn't spend a few seconds to sign an autograph for a little boy. And, I was stunned that he acted like that. And I remember thinking, how could he do that? And obviously the child was very upset. And but once again, his judgment, I had mentioned on Facebook, I mean, here he was former governor, and he knows he's being followed, and he's driving a Bentley. He's not even driving an American car, knowing he's going to be photographed by everyone. They're following every move the man is making right now. And here he's in probably a $250,000 Bentley. Yes, he can well afford it, but it's in poor taste. I mean, where is his support for an American car, even, when he's being photographed by everyone?
Wow, what a revealing story indeed. But you have lots of those because you have access many times to celebrities, but most of them are welcoming you, like Maria Shriver did, to take pictures, and Muhammad Ali and the rest who you've sat with to get very intimate, personal portraits of them. Maria Shriver, by all accounts, was a star in her own right, really, as a journalist on television.
That's right. And she really gave up her journalism career to become First Lady of First Lady of California, when he was governor. But now I would assume she's going to be offered many positions to get back on television. She just had a special on CNN, but I would think she's going to be offered a regular position, certainly on the Oprah Network. But I would think that she is in demand. She is a great reporter, very good journalist, and a wonderful person.
Yeah, and it looks like in the last minute that we have here, speaking of Oprah, Maria Shriver was with Oprah, and Oprah is going out big there in Chicago.
She sure is, isn't she?
Wow. I mean, they had a
I know
stadium
all those shows are airing next week, and it should be exciting.
Yeah, we're going to see.
I think we already know everything. They've been reported on every single station. But it's funny, another story about Maria. I know that she was just recently in Canyon Ranch in Tucson with Caroline Kennedy. This was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and a friend of mine who was teaching there said that Maria was in one of her classes and seemed fine. So this was before everything certainly has hit the fan here.
Well, Linda Solomon is a friend of Oprah. She's a friend to lots of celebrities, and it's great to have her here in Michigan and Birmingham. Celebrity photographer and a member of the Michigan Journalism Hall of Fame. Her sister is the entertainment correspondent for the Today Show, Jill Rappaport. It's a very talented family indeed. And if you Google up Linda Solomon, you'll see her books and her works, and we'll talk to you soon. It's 26 minutes after the hour. Michael Patrick Shields.